Hey, how's it going? Wow, right off the beginning, real quick, it's a scary drop bear. Hey, thanks so much for the sub. Really appreciate it. Tier 1 sub, thank you so much. Hey, how's it going? What are you guys working on? How's your Saturday going? Hopefully good. Mine's going good. Busy, but not as busy as usual. I kind of took, oh my gosh. Techno, hey, 6 months. Wow, man, 6 months already. Dude, crazy to believe that I've even had a channel for 6 months. Man, really appreciate the continued support. 6 months, man, Prime sub, thank you so much. Half a year, that is so true, so true. Thanks, dude, really appreciate it. And real quick, Firespire, this happened really shortly before I started streaming, or right before I did. So Firespire, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. And there was one more, Darkop, 199. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. So yeah, just wanted to get caught up on those. I wasn't sure if you were here when I started the stream or not, but it's really close. So anyways, yeah, what are you guys working on? How's it going? Happy Saturday. Hopefully things are going well. Hopefully you're staying safe. And yeah, hopefully you've got something interesting to work on this morning or this weekend. Coming up to Thanksgiving here in the United States. So I got some extra time. Might work on that banana command. We'll see what happens. But I got a few things coming, especially for the Twitch channel and for Discord for sure too. Like I said, like my weeks are packed with lots of stuff. But I have some time off next week, so I get to actually focus on a few more things and maybe get to a couple of videos in my backlog so I can take another week off from recording so that I can do some other stuff. So anyways, let's get started here. PC Geek, first in, dude. Thank you so much. How's it going, PC Geek? Sotos, hi. Was worried for a second. Yeah, a couple minutes late today. Had to, I'm not going to make any excuses, just running a little bit late. So apologize. Linux Tux, hey, how's it going? PC Geek, I had faith. All right, yeah. Saturday's the one that I will absolutely do. Tuesdays and Thursdays are kind of up in the air right now, just as I try to figure all this out. But Saturdays is the one that, I mean, unless I'm traveling or doing something, which I'm not traveling, or doing something out of the ordinary, Saturdays is always on. So you can count on that for sure. No route, hey there, just time to grab a beverage. Yeah. PC Geek, how's it going? I said that already, but yeah, man, love the headphones. Reese, hey, how's it going? First, oh man, PC Geek beat you. He was here like, honestly, PC Geek, I don't know if my notification went out like instantaneously, but I hit go live and 5 seconds later he was in here. So maybe he gets early notifications. But man, hope you guys are doing well. Treadstone, hello. How's it going? Reese Tech, hello. Vash 5556, hello. Yeah, so Reese Tech, homework. Weekend plans are homework. That's not fun. Hopefully you get to take some time out for some fun or some interesting things that you want to do. But yeah, homework, not so fun. I guess it depends. Depends on the class that it's for. Vash, Takano, heyo, what's up, Takano? How's it going? How's your Christmas light endeavor going? It's getting close. It's getting close to the Christmas lights should be up. I put them up early. Well, when my wife lets me. It just not that she doesn't let me, but she's always just like, well, you know, it was just Halloween, and I'm like, yeah, November 1st. Like we put up lights all the way until March. That's how it works, right? This year I haven't got mine up yet, so I think I'm gonna do it this weekend though. But yeah, how's yours going, man? Vash, depends on what you show. Techno Tim, yeah. Firespire, just finished up your 1U video. How's the new server working out? Hey, good question. Awesome so far. So I've been doing a lot of infrastructure type stuff, getting some things ready, testing some stuff out. I love that I have two because I can play around with one while I take down the other and mess around with it. Kiko from Texas. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. They're working out well so far. To be honest, to be completely honest, I haven't had a lot of time to work on them. This last video, videos like those take a little bit longer and a little more effort than my tutorials. So every minute I had up until about 12:30 last night was editing. Editing and trying to put the story together and editing. So I have some awesome stuff coming. They work great though. Like I burned them in. They work fantastic. I got GPU pass-through working, no problem. I followed my old guide. And to be honest, I had some problems even with my old guide for passing through my new Quadro card. Hey, Jorson, thanks for the sub. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Thanks for the sub, Prime sub. Thank you so much. Thank you. But I even went back to my old guide and I found my old guide still works. It's just there's a few things that I guess I assumed. And so I made a lot of assumptions. I'm like, yeah, I've done this 4 times. Like, no problem at all. I got this. No, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, like getting the code 43 error for NVIDIA, I'm like, what is going on? And I finally realized I missed one tiny little thing. And it was actually a checkbox for the PCI Express device, or actually the flag in the config file. But yeah, anyways, good so far. Tonight, I usually take Saturday nights off tech, but I don't think I'm going to tonight because I really want to get started on those servers and making them production ready, home production ready. How about that? So yeah, got a lot to do, got a lot to figure out. Gonna set up some Proxmox clustering, probably some Kubernetes HA stuff. So lots to figure out. So lots of new content now that I have these servers going. And I think users of my services and even everyone in the home will be a lot happier now that I have more than one server, so I can take stuff down and not just have things not work. Anyways, yeah, super excited to get that one out because that's now my new platform for a lot more stuff. Pizza Geek, nice video by the way. Thank you. The server one, thank you. Yeah, it's I love doing build ones. I just I don't buy enough hardware to do build ones, and I've probably done 3, 4. So anytime I can, I definitely do. So it's fun. But that's been, I've had that one cooking for like 3 weeks because, bought parts. I bought most of those parts at the same time that I bought my network upgrade. And so they've been sitting in a box like right over here. So when I actually unboxed it in that video, that was the first time I ever saw anything inside. And to be completely honest, I had no idea it came with server rails. And I was like, this is awesome, sending those old, less usable rails back to Amazon because, I just bought my typical rails that are just like L brackets. For a shelf, and so it came with server rails. I'm like, sweet, that just saved me money, and they're the exact ones for it too, and they slide out. So, anyways, Chicano, get to watch Techno Tim while cleaning. All right, yeah. What are you cleaning, man? Just the house? I'm on the big screen. I'll try not to yell too much. Linux Tuck. I finally upgraded my server to ECC unregistered RAM. Yeah. Wait, ECC unregistered RAM? Nice. I think you mean registered, possibly. Maybe not. Nice. Awesome. Are you doing some ZFS? Are you doing some FreeNAS, TrueNAS? Yeah, let me know. Chicano, Banana. Yeah, Banana will work someday, maybe. You'll have to keep trying. But if it's going to work, it's going to work in the next week. Yeah, and I didn't stop I scaled down the bot. I just was waiting for Node to spin up locally. So that's why. But yeah, it'll work. It'll work. Reese Tech, I'm working on setting up Longhorn storage. Nice, yeah. But currently failing. Well, not so nice. To do so as the Rancher app is not working. That's not good. I haven't done Longhorn yet. And so I am definitely looking at, in my next wave of stuff, looking at storage options for Kubernetes. Obviously, Longhorn's probably in the front is the front runner because it's made also by Rancher. So hopefully I have some stuff for you. I just have to figure out, there are a couple options there for Kubernetes native storage and distributed storage over Kubernetes, which kind of blows my mind. So I'll have something soon. Let me know what's not working either here or in Discord, and maybe we can kind of try to figure out what's going on. Sorry, my throat. It's what happens to me on Saturdays. Like I said, I say probably 100 words, and then all of a sudden at 3 o'clock, I'm yelling in a microphone. Sotos, Technotim, I am a new home lab owner. Nice, congratulations. I have 3 HP Pro Alliance servers, 1 Cisco L3 Layer 3 switch, and a firewall. Awesome. I'm mostly worried for my power bill. Any tips there? Yeah, so I think a lot of us go through that same thing where we scale up, and then we realize, wow, that's gonna cost a lot of power or money or use a lot of energy that equates to money. And so some of the things that I've done and I've learned to do is turn down my fans because those use a lot of power. If you can, within a safe threshold, turn them down. Turn on any energy efficiency thing you have in the BIOS for the CPU, if it has it, and just run in efficient mode if you can. Some have it, some don't. Hopefully that'll clock your CPU down. Spinning mechanical drives use a lot of power, a lot more than SSDs. And I know that, it's more cost effective right now to buy large storage drives that are, mechanical, spinning Rust hard drives. But SSDs I found too that end up using a lot less power. Besides that, it's tough. It's tough. If you have multiple machines, you can shut one down while you're not using it. At first when I first got my 1U servers going, I'm like, yeah, they had 24/7 keeping these on. And I ran them for like a day and I'm like, wait, I don't even have anything running on these yet. Why are they even on? I'm just so used to keeping my servers on. And I've shut them down. And so, that doesn't always work, especially if you're running services, public services that need to be available 24/7. That's obviously not going to work. But I mean, if it's just you in your home, you could do simple things. Like, unless you have night jobs running at night, you could do simple things. Shut it all down. Put a timer in the BIOS or wake on LAN packet. Shut it down at night and wake it up at 6 a.m. Even just shutting things down for 4 or 5 hours is going to save you a little bit of money. So, and I kind of have something, a little something I've been working on that hopefully will help with that too. But that's just the name of the game when you start getting servers, especially when they're enterprise grade things where, to them, to enterprises, they don't think about the electric bill, maybe not when they buy these servers. So, but we of course do. So those are the only tips I can give right now. Like I said, try those things. Hopefully it'll make a dent. But yeah, you never know. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Software Rat, hey, how's it going? Nora, Hunter 2. I don't understand Hunter 2. Techno, hopefully a Christmas light show update this week and finally get to work on it. Yeah, man. Because, next week, Thanksgiving, that means Christmas lights should be up. Techno password 123. There's no way that's your password. No way. 1 sec. Hey, also, yeah, thank you so much for earning points and spending points. Really appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel and you're wondering why the lights keep changing back here, it's because if you hang around the channel, you earn some points. Once you earn enough points, you can pick the color of lights in my room. And so I have 3 themes, all different. And yeah, you could choose them. Just earn 1,000 points, which I think is pretty quick. I thought it was going to be high, and originally I said just 10,000 points and made to kind of blow all his points, but I lowered it once I realized that was like too much. I want people to be able to earn enough points in one stream to change them. So I'm still tuning it. Might go down to 500. We'll see. But then Takana will be changing it the whole entire time, so I can't do that. Evil Jaws, how are people backing up Proxmox VMs? Yeah, great question. So I mean that was probably a question to the larger group of people, but you can use something like Proxmox Backup Server. You can use something just like Proxmox and back them up to NFS, an NFS share. That's what I do. And sometimes I don't even back up the whole entire virtual machine. I back up individual parts. So there are things. Hey, Sotos. Hey, thanks for the gifted sub. Sotos gifted a tier 1 sub to CG Bass Player. Hey, enjoy the gifted sub from Sotos. Yeah, thank you so much. Again, really appreciate it. Yeah, lights are going. I love it. Where was I backing up stuff? And so sometimes I don't back up VMs at all. It sounds kind of crazy, but some of the times there's a trade-off or an evaluation I do in my head. Like, what are the things that are important on this virtual machine? Some would argue the whole entire virtual machine to get back up really quick. But sometimes I just have a few config files that are on the machine that are the only thing that's important. And instead of going and backing up and scheduling backups and doing all this stuff daily and using up all the disk space and then having 5 days worth of archives, 10 days worth of archives and going through all that, I just back up the files. And so I have a few servers where files only, and I just do an rsync. Rsync it out or somewhere, move it somewhere, or move it to NFS, and that's it. Because realistically, it would take me 20 minutes to build that server again, and then restore the 2 config files and have it back running. I know that's, not, maybe not the most traditional way of doing it, but those are the things I think about when I do it. It just depends. But otherwise, it is a backup to an NFS share for me, for the most part. Software Rec, greetings from Austria. Hey, greetings. How's it going? Haven't seen your name. Oh, I see your name almost every Saturday. Oh, maybe not last Saturday, but Saturdays for sure, because I think this time works better for you. Bojangs. Hey everyone, I'm trying to figure out the best way to share Plex securely with friends without port forwarding or needing to set up OpenVPN for every user. I've dug around a bit, but haven't found a solution I like yet. Any ideas? That one's tough. So when you say securely, do you also mean anonymously? Because you could go just through Plex, but I imagine in your securely, you also don't want to go through Plex. That's a tough one. I have Plex. I run Plex here, and I go through Plex, and I have friends on Plex, and I share through Plex. I mean, a handful of friends to share the media I own. So, that's a tough one. I don't have any great answers for that. Because the opposite of doing that, or your alternate solution, is then doing port forwarding, doing something like dynamic DNS, and then setting up OpenVPN or something. Yeah, that's a tough one, because I think those are your only options after that, right? Port forwarding and tell people your port and create an account for them, or let them get in. Or open VPN tunnels for everyone. But yeah, maybe someone has some better ideas. But I do it the official way. Nikolov, Lazar. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you so much. Oh, my bot. I need to fix him. It's scary. Drop Bear. Hey, good morning from Australia. Yeah, thank you so much. How's it going? Hello, Techno Tim and chat. Happy Saturday. Yeah, Francis Kutizia. Hey, thank you so much. Glad you're here. Thank you. Heartbirds. Hey, Tim. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Lunico. Have a look at Zero Tier. I like this. Okay, Zero Tier. I need to check that out. I haven't heard of it before. PC Geek. I've been tinkering with the Discord bot. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. I saw you got some of the commands going. Super awesome. Hopefully it's working out in your Discord server. It's super fun to play with. Especially when you get a, if you're new to it and you're setting it up and you get the bot to actually respond to things, you're like, this is great. And it just opens a lot of possibilities. And then you start to realize 2 things once you start writing your own code and building your own bots. One, that you have unlimited flexibility. And so if you find a bot that doesn't do what you want it to do, you can write it yourself. And then it uncovers the other thing is that you have to write it yourself. And so that's really tough. Because if you think of something like MeBot or any of the other Discord bots that are out there, they're pretty full featured, with points, with moderator commands, link monitoring. They're pretty sophisticated. And then you start to realize like how much effort they put into those bots. But yeah, super fun. Let me know how it goes for sure. Vash, getting ready to move my network over to my new Juniper switch. That should be fun. Yeah, that sounds fun. Maybe. If you're excited about it, sounds fun. I had to move some stuff over. It was definitely fun because I had new hardware and a new interface and all that. But yeah, I agree. Totally fun. I think for me, when it stops being fun, are all the details with firewalls. And if you're going, from a different switch to another, setting up VLANs and firewalls sometimes, it's fun after like one or two, and then you're like, oh gosh, oh yeah. Or you get the, hey, I can't print, or hey, I can't do this anymore. And you're like, oh yeah, I need to fix that. So I have a little Trello board where I put some of my to-dos, and my to-do on networking, I just keep putting notes in there. I'm just like, keep putting notes in there, figure it out later. But yeah, hopefully it goes well. Sweet that you got a new Switch. Let me know how it goes. The Digital Life. Hey man, how are you doing? How are your servers running? Hey, fantastic. I was just saying earlier, I haven't done much on them. They're off right now. I planned on turning them on here in about 2 hours and digging into a few things for some new content. So yeah, I'm running fantastic, but they're hot off the press. I mean, I put them together and edited and recorded over the last week and a half. And so as soon as I was done getting them racked, got IP, my DHCP set up, VLANing set up, got them all where they should be and communicating, tested GPU pass-through, shut them down, and that was it. And so I need to get back to them. I know I feel bad. They're lonely down there. They need some love because they're pretty bare bones. They're both running Proxmox though. I will say that. And I got some VMs going on one, and I set up shares and I set up backups and just getting things in order for some new stuff. But yeah, super fun. As you guys would know, yeah, when setting up new stuff in general, super fun. Software rat. What do you think about Apple's M1 CPU and GPU? Yeah, that's a tough question. That's a big question too. And currently seems awesome for Apple. For everything non-Apple, it's tough. It's tough. And maybe it's it's tough. It's going to cause a lot of things to shift. I mean, things were already starting to shift. But if you think about everything, especially software, I mean, everything's going to start changing or shifting or having to do something a little bit differently now, because Apple, they think differently, except for it's just different. So I think it's cool. I think, other manufacturers, other players are ramping up too, and Apple's just, they took the leap first. And so, it changes a lot of stuff. So I don't own one yet with an M1 chip. I do own a MacBook. Hey, Sci-Fi Jeep Guy. Hey, gifted 3 tier 1 subs. Dude, thank you so much. Sci-Fi Jeep Guy. Dang, how are you, man? Evil Jaws, Impulse 9, and Alex Shoop, thank you. Thank Sci-Fi Jeep Guy for the gifted subs. Dang, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Man. Thank you. Wow. But yeah, going back to M1 chips, I mean, things are going to slowly change. Even Apple, even though they released it, they're going to slowly change stuff over too. And I think, it's going to affect software developers for sure. Because now we'll have to compile things for another processor type, which used to run on, x86, whatever. It's gonna be interesting, And I have a MacBook now, and it's Intel-based MacBook. I'm curious. I think they bought themselves a pretty big runway when they said, after 2 years they're gonna phase out some of the x86 apps. And so I think they bought themselves a decent runway to be able to do that. I'm still curious about MacBook Pros though, to be able to say that you're going to get, x86 performance on a MacBook Pro will be interesting. It will be interesting to see for sure. And so, yeah, I'm kind of in a wait and see. I think it's awesome. I think change in general is for the good. If it's for the good, it's good, and so I'm all for it. I'm not a hater because it's different. I'm a wait and see. And so, I think that's where the market's going. IceNet, hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Was there? Maybe that was Mario. I thought I saw Zelda out of the corner of my eye, or Link. IceNet, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome. And there's another one. Try000CS, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. So yeah, that's a huge topic. And I look at it from, because I'm a software developer. I look at it from a software development lens. And so I know there are, lots of people who look at it from a server lens, or from a consumer lens, or from a gaming lens, or from just, business user lens. And so my lens typically is for software development because that's what I use my Mac for. My Mac is basically my write code machine during the day. My Windows machine is write code machine at night. So be interesting for sure. I'm excited for sure. But while we're in limbo, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'll put it that way because we're gonna have emulation now, and so you lose some stuff there. But anyways, yeah. Dark plays. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Stats and DNA. I'm trying to visualize WireGuard on Proxmox using an undo x86 Ultra as bare metal. Oh man. Okay, so you're trying to visualize, graphing WireGuard on Proxmox using an undo x86 Ultra as the bare metal. I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to do. Like, I understand visualizing Proxmox if you're talking about monitoring and metrics, but I don't know an undo x86 Ultra. Let me know. Need more info. CG bass player. I just started playing with a 3CX for an in-home phone system. Nice. We were talking about this, I think, 2 streams ago about in-home phone system. Yeah, got to check it out. Sounds interesting. What hardware do you use for something like that? Are IP phones, are they pretty standard? Will they connect to most systems? Are they open? I don't know much about PBX systems or 3CX. I just remember at a couple places I worked, they had a Cat 5 or Cat 6 cable that I'd plug in and it would power on the phone and I can make calls. It's way more complicated than that. But I'm curious to know, are they pretty open, or do you have to buy the phone that matches the platform that you're on? Because it's super interesting. Stats DNA, having trouble connecting to my server through. So I think you're talking about WireGuard. Yeah, let me know. Give me, I need some more information. What troubles, what errors, and what exactly are you trying to do? Because I'm just need some more info, please. Treadstone. Would you quit your job for Twitch and YouTube, or do you think it'll stay as a hobby? Hopefully my boss isn't watching. No, just kidding. Hold on, that's a big question. Would I quit my job? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I'll put it this way, whether or not my boss is watching. I love what I do, and I love the company I work for, and I love developing software. I love creating software that people use, and I love the breadth and depth I get at my current job, the place where I work, the startup where I work. I get to do, I have a ton of freedom. I get to do and build a lot of things for a lot of different people on a lot of different platforms. And I get to go as deep as I want to go, and I can dive deep on any tech stack that I want that we use, and even ones we don't use. So I have a ton of flexibility. I love the people I work with, and I enjoy building software that people use. That's been my mission ever since I got into software development. I'm happiest when my manager would ask, what makes you happy? When you have those personal development conversations, And my answer has always been what makes me most happy is building software that people use. Because I've worked on software projects where no one used them. And we can build the best product in the world, but if no one uses them and there's not a feedback loop or any kind of usage, then what's the point? And so as I grew in my career, that's how I always helped shape the conversation of what I wanted to do next. And so I didn't want to be on a lot of projects where they didn't have a decent user base, and the user base could be 30, it could be 30,000. But I wanted the user base to be engaged with the product too, and part of the conversation when you build stuff. Anyways, I'm coming back. I'm coming back to will I quit my job? I promise. And so all of those things I love doing. I enjoy doing. I get to do them every day. I did some this morning, because I love to do it, not because I have to do it. Do I have to work on Saturdays or nights? No. Is that the expectation? No. I do it because I enjoy doing it. And sometimes there just aren't enough hours in the day. And sometimes the really fun or the icing on the cake type stuff that I want to do can't be done in normal hours. So I do them outside of work. So that being said, I find that I like being really busy. Like this is the busiest I've ever been in my entire life. It's not overwhelming, but it's near. And so I like being really, really busy, and I'm sure I can create more and more content all day long. But I also like variety. So I like that I get to, be part of a team for a company, building something, building software, developing software. And then I have my hobbies, which used to be a lot of gaming and tinkering and building stuff. Now it's, I swapped out the lot of gaming with tinkering, building stuff, and then recording and editing video. And so for me, it's been it's kind of this left brain, right brain type thing where, I get my super duper deep technical writing code stuff all day long. And then I get to do things that I think are more fun. Not more fun. That's not different fun. I should put it that way. In the nights, evenings, weekends, where it's like, okay, these are still technical things. But for me, it's a lot more lighthearted, where I get to learn, explore, and teach them stuff. So anyways, it's gonna be a hobby for a while. But at the same time, I'm treating it as if it's my second job too. So I'm treating it like I have two jobs right now. And I have a deadline every week, every Saturday to get something out. And so just like I have deadlines at work on my second job, which is Twitch, YouTube, I have deadlines too. And so that's a great question. I never really thought it through. But I like doing lots of things, and so lots of different things. And so having a full-time job that I love, along with creating content, a full-time job at nights and weekends, is fun for me. So yeah. Anyways, sorry that took me a long time to get there, but I kind of had to think that one through. But anyways, yeah. Treadstone, thanks for asking. Yeah. Hopefully my boss is watching, because that was a perfect answer. Just kidding. Anyways, Vash, how is that going so far? I've been thinking about giving that a spin. That's probably in relation to the 3CX. Yeah. People are interested in 3CX. At least a couple streams ago, people were talking about it. I was like, I need to hear more about this. Mafney, hey, how's it going? Brislop, hello, how's it going? PC Geek, I was already on your stream page when you started, so you beat the notification. All right, nice, I like it. Hanging out, oh, I like it. Thank you, man, appreciate that. CG bass player, oh, hey, Garrus1, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. CG bass player, it's still on the install, but I've heard good things, hoping to find some old IP phones to really play with it. Yeah, I'm curious about IP phones and if they need to be open or something like that. Anno 9474, need to get new glasses. Thanks for the follow, really appreciate it, welcome. It's only a gnome. Hello, Techno, Tim. That was a lot of technos in there. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Elmorium, hi from Germany. Hello from the US. How are you? Trabuscas, hey folks, have one question for you. I watched the Rancher video, but I ended up being confused about the networking part. I pay for co-location of my server as I have decent internet at home. I couldn't figure out whether I should use public IPs or internal IPs on Rancher itself, and containers launch through there. I got stuck on the traffic part. Is anyone in the same boat? I'm not in the same boat because I haven't done that, and my Rancher server and my traffic load balancer and my Kubernetes clusters are all co-located. But I will, that's a great question for the community for sure. I might have something that helps soon, only because once you do more than one node, you got to figure that out too. Having a separate load balancer to be able to route those calls, or even multiple load balancers per cluster. But TBD for me, but maybe someone else has some experience. But yeah, that's a great question. Bojang, Zero Tier would need to be installed and set up every user's device then, right? Yeah, I'm not sure. Norau, I'm following the ethical hacking classes. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them from Network Chuck. those homework assignments are sort of fun. Yeah, well, maybe it's for Network Chuck. I've seen he's been doing a lot of hacking videos in general, and maybe I'm making assumptions that that's where those homework assignments are from. But yeah, it's scary. It's scary, Drop Bear. I'm sitting in a VM just trying to wrap my head around Linux basics. I'm a noob compared to you guys. Hey, no worries there. I'm still a noob when it comes to Linux. You know, I know the basics and I've been using it for years. I never do any super advanced stuff. And maybe this stuff that I do seems advanced, but I'm nowhere near like, a system administrator who does Linux all day. Nowhere near that. Haven't had the experience. But just take it easy, learn little by little. That's how I do it. I think once what really helped too is, I'm not saying go buy a Mac, but what really helped for me is just using a terminal on other platforms. Obviously, on a Mac terminal, it's Unix-like, so it's like Linux. And then the same on Windows with WSL. Once you switch to those terminals and use a Unix-like system everywhere, then I think you'll really accelerate. So, if you're sitting in the VM and the VM is Linux, but then all day long you're on Windows, try installing WSL and install Ubuntu on WSL and use that terminal instead. And then you'll be like, whoa, this is awesome. I can SSH into that virtual machine instead of inside of the virtual machine through a terminal or through a console or a screen recording system. And install WSL on your Windows machine if you have Windows, or if you're on Linux now. Install Linux on Linux. What am I talking about? Terminal into there, SSH into there, and do some stuff there. But yeah, we're all learning. We're all learning for sure. Treadstone, have you ever tried Vivaldi? Truly the best browser I've ever used. I've heard of it. I haven't tried it. I might have installed it at one point in time. I can't remember because, every now and then when I do browser testing, I'll see like a whole bunch of browsers popping up out of the woodworks, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should look at that and see what it's about. But I haven't done a ton of it. I do a ton of web development, and usually we just test on the normal ones. IE. Oh, we still do have to test on IE. IE, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, mobile Safari. And then you got your variants of mobile Safari, because really on iPhones, all the browsers you use on there are still really mobile Safari with a different UI, like Edge, like Chrome. Chrome on an iOS device is really still mobile Safari, but they just themed it. And so I've heard of it, haven't used it. Let me know. Why is it the best browser you've ever used? That's interesting. Is it security? Is it performance? Is it UX? Kiko from Texas, what was your first programming job? Oh, that's a great question too. Let me grab a drink. My first programming job. Yeah, that's a tough one. So I'll start with this. My first programming job was one that I created for myself. The first time, I started out in IT doing infrastructure stuff. I started out doing tech support, and then did a ton of different roles along the way, figuring out what I wanted to do. And every time I found something interesting that I wanted to learn more about, I have been fortunate enough to have opportunities where people believed in me and said, yep, let's give that guy a shot. And it's always worked out well on both ends. Terzio, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. And so I've had some opportunities where I've got to explore different things. But there was a point in time where I wanted to get into software development, but didn't have a professional background. That's really tough. That's tough for a lot of people. A lot of people go through it now, where you want to break through and get into, a job you don't have. And so you got to kind of learn the skills and do all the stuff on your own. And so that's what I did. So my first programming job wasn't it wasn't someone who hired me. Birmingham 13, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. It wasn't someone who hired me. I hired myself to do a job. And so I set out to build an app. I thought, well, here's something I can own end to end. Here's something that takes nothing else than me and my servers in my basement. And here's something I can learn at my own pace and produce and put out to the world. And so that's what I did. I built an app, and I built it on Android and iOS. I built it on Windows Phone too. I built all the services. I built the APIs. I hosted the database. I created everything end to end. And from there, I released it in the App Store. And that was my first programming job and had nothing to do with what I was doing in my day job. And so that's how I got into programming. Fortunately, there was a software development position that opened up at a company I was at. And I said, hey, look, I've never done software development professionally. I don't even know what it means to do it professionally, but I built a lot of stuff. Here's an app that I built that's in the App Store. I built all the services. I built the API. I built the front end, the back end, the middle tier. Here's my data model. Here's everything. You got 10 minutes. Let's talk about this position you have open. See if I'm a good fit. And that's what I did, and worked out for me. And so then my first job was doing a lot of .NET and a lot of VB.NET. It was more of support of old code, which was VB.NET, and then a ton of C#. And so that's how I got started. Then I had a job professionally, and when I jumped into that was like drinking from a fire hose, a cold fire hose. Because man, I had so many things I didn't understand or learn or experiences I hadn't had yet. And I happened to join like one of the highest performing teams at the company. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, did I do the right thing? You know, I for months, I would go home and study Pluralsight at night, work during the day, get so frustrated, go back home, Pluralsight, you know, and it was that for months. And I told my wife many times, like, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I made the wrong choice. And I slogged through it. And finally, I started understanding more. I started being able to contribute more. And so, long story short, my first job was one that I gave myself. My second job was one that a company gave me, and it was doing a lot of .NET, and it was doing DevOps before DevOps was DevOps. I'll say it that way. So it was a lot of build automation, code deployment type stuff, but 100% dev positions. Because DevOps just didn't exist at that point in time. It was our team who built the internal build server, the internal code deployment, the internal spin up your web servers. And these are VMs, not Docker containers or anything like that. And so, yeah, that was my first real job. And so I was in way over my head, going from, hey, I built this cool app to now working for a Fortune 550, company and on a really high performing team. But I learned so much, and I'm forever grateful for the person who gave me that opportunity. But anyways, long story. You guys are probably bored of stories about me, but good question. So if you're thinking, Kiko from Texas, about breaking through or getting into a software development job, or maybe not even software development, any job that you don't have where you don't have the skills yet, try to build them up yourself first. Build them at home, build a project, put it on GitHub, put it somewhere public, and have it ready so that when that perfect opportunity opens up, you can say, yep, you know what? I don't do this yet, but I have done it on my own. Here's what I do. I'd love to show you. Give me a couple minutes of your time. And that seems to work. I've done it a couple times in my life, and it seems to be okay. But nowadays, not that like that was that long ago, it seems like a lot of people are doing that. So, it's more common for people to do, and have GitHub repos and have code that they contribute to, or things they contribute to publicly, to where they can point to it and say, hey, here's what I do. Here's what I'm interested in. So yeah, great question. Geeky Fez. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Opus 000. I don't know if I read that one off. Thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome both of you. Lunico. That's correct. But zero tier setup is simpler than OpenVPN. All right. Dammy Killer. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Sheep Blanket. How much did one of those super micro servers cost you? Refurbs are new. Yeah, great question. So I have links down below. You can check them out. The price varies. So I will say this. They are hard to find for a decent price. And I paid, I think, a little under $600. And I know that seems like a lot, but so I'll break it down. So first of all, there's links below, there's a gear link below. You can see the whole entire kit. I create a whole entire kit. So if you're like interested and you're like, what did this cost? There's exactly what it costs if you were to buy it today. But I will say that the server itself cost a little under $600. And that seems kind of expensive, but you know, like anything, mini ITX PC builds, like anytime you try to squeeze a ton of stuff in small form factor or any kind of niche product, and I would throw a lot of one-use servers into niche products, you're going to end up paying a little bit more. And so I bought it new. I wanted DDR4. I wanted, you know, just a new platform in general. I will say though, I was surprised with the amount of extras that it came with. For one, server rails. And so if I started, when I started this journey, and we had a live stream once where I was just kind of like doing a whole entire brain dump of everything that I thought like I wanted in a one-use server, this fit the bill for a lot of those things. And so what it did give me was DDR4. What it did give me, which I didn't know at the time, were server rails, which is, you know, you start adding these things up and, you know, it starts to be a good value really quick. Had IPMI built into it already. So I was like, okay, another plus. It had, you know, hot swappable bays and a backplane. Sure, you're going to get that on a lot of one-use servers, but it was there, right? I didn't have to buy a separate case for it. One of the things that came up while we were talking about how we should build this is, you know, you could go and buy a case, you can go buy a motherboard, and you can buy all these parts individually. But when you start looking at those, it adds up pretty quick. And then on top of that, what compounds it is that if you buy a board and if you buy everything individually, you better hope it fits when you get it all together. So that's what I was finding. Like, okay, I can buy this super micro or whatever, this 1U case, and then I can buy this motherboard. I don't think everything's going to line up the way I want. And oh, by the way, okay, I need a backplane, need all these individual things. And it just, the math didn't work. And then by the time I found something I thought would work, you know, I don't have a VGA, I don't have video output. And I was like, okay, well, I can just use IPMI instead. Well, when you're looking at those boards with IPMI, you're paying $250, $230, $240, $250 for just the motherboard. And that's it. And so, you know, and then on top of all of it came with a power supply too, 350 watt power supply. And so that's where I was like, every time I did the math, I ended up thinking, I'm going to buy a bare bones. And that had some additional benefits too. You know, that had the additional benefit of, hey, I only have to go to one place for a warranty. You know, the whole entire thing has a warranty for 3 or 5 years. I don't remember. But I only have to knock on one person's door if something goes wrong. And there's no finger pointing, you know, it's go right to Supermicro and say, hey, this isn't working. I'd like to file a warranty claim, you know, or an RMA or whatever. And so all of those things sounded really appealing to me. And then I knew too, with some of the boards I was looking at originally, which were kind of desktop, they're basically workstation class boards with IPMI. You know, they had their own quirks, like their IPM, you know, like this is a desktop manufacturer making a workstation class board. They have one or two. You know, how good is the IPMI going to be? How good is this board going to be? And so, long story short, I got everything you saw in there, minus hard drives, RAM, CPU. I think that's it, for around $600. And so, and I know I could have went out and bought name your Dell, name your HP server, 2U with RAM and with CPU for around that too. But you know, I that would have been DDR3. It would have been less efficient processors, and so that's where I was like, well, you know, I'm trying to set myself up for the next couple of years, and who knows? Maybe it'll work, maybe it don't. You'll have to stay tuned to find out. But anyways, they were brand new. Long story short, yeah, I sorry if I rambled. I figured, and this is the one time I'm going to be able to talk about this type of stuff because I just released the video. So yeah, good question. Treadstone, given the generation, I'm assuming eBay. It wasn't eBay. Sheet blankets, makes sense. Bojangs, thanks. I'll have a take. Oh, you guys are talking still about, I lost my train of thought there. But it's either, something else. Treadstone, there are some companies that also sell decommissioned stuff. So, not new, but not refurb. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think a lot of, for sure. I mean, Yeah, I mean, Google, name your huge, anyone or even cloud providers. They decommission them. I mean, they give them to other companies, I think, to then sell them off for them because they're just like, I don't have time for this, or to run a marketplace. Hey, Bill Nash. Hey, thanks for the sub. 3 months, tier 1. Thank you so much. Sup, nerds? What's up? Yeah. What's up? How's it going? Bill Nash, thanks so much for the continued support. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And I started thinking about going down the refurb or decommission stuff route, but at the end of the day, I wanted a smaller, form factor too. And I didn't want the extended 1U either, because I'm trying to slim down, not only in height, but in width, kind of like myself lately. I need to do some more moving. But yeah, all great comments for sure. IceNet. Hey man, nice video. What did you choose, a single CPU and not a double CPU? Yeah, another good question. Because I didn't want to run, because let me reel this back a little bit. The reason why I went with one CPU on one server is because I knew in my head that I was gonna buy 2 servers. I was gonna build 2 servers. And so I went with a single CPU board, mainly because that's what came with the server on the board. If it would have came with 2 slots, to be honest, I wouldn't have put a second one in. Because these are gonna replace my big Dell R710 that's like beast mode running everything right now. And then this other PC convert that I have that's running a server that has like a few things running in it, but just not as efficient. And so I wanted to have more cores or more threads than I get in my Dell R710 now, but with 1 socket. All because I knew in my head I wanted 2 servers. Because I want to be able to shut one server down completely, do whatever, apply patches, bring the other one back up, or I want to totally wipe it or whatever. I just want a little bit more flexibility with moving some of my virtual machines around. And I'm set, or have, but going to redo, set up my Proxmox cluster too. So I'm not going to do HA. I'm not too worried about Proxmox HA. And plus, like, I don't know, the HA, unless you do it right, isn't true HA, because if it takes 10 minutes to move that virtual machine and spin it up, that's not great availability. There's 10 minutes of downtime. So anyways, I'm going to set up a cluster so that I can move stuff around. Sure, it's going to take me, I don't know, a couple minutes to move stuff, back and forth. But it still gives me the ability to move stuff back and forth and shut one server down. So yeah, at the end of the day, I only went with 1 CPU because the board I was looking at had 1 CPU. I was going to buy 2 servers. And then I went with the super high thread count, and that might come back to bite me on power. We'll see. We'll see here over the next couple weeks. But I might underclock that CPU too. I spun it up at one point and I had it running at 1.8 gigahertz, and I was like, okay, 24 threads, 1.8 gigahertz. I kind of like this. But we'll see. I have some workloads that might require a single thread that's more than 1.8 gigahertz. So we'll see. Yeah, great question. Thank you. Spaceys. Yo, what's up? Again from Netherlands. Nice one you built. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's hopefully it works out. I'm TBD on how it's going to work out. I'll know this week. I'm like super excited that I have time off from work. Like I said, love working, but at the same time, I get to geek out this week, like big time, like super big time. Last time I got to geek out, I had like 2 days to geek out on my network stuff, and there was just not enough time to do everything I wanted to do. I got bigger stuff planned for the next week, and I hope it's enough time. But you know how it is going into a vacation. You're just like, yeah, I have so much time. And then before you know, it's like Sunday night, 10 o'clock, and you're like, what did I even do over the last 5 days? Hopefully I don't have that. I'm going to write it down and assign tasks to myself as if I'm working, and just crush my Trello board this week. So there'll be a lot of things you guys will see either here on stream, in YouTube, or in Discord, hopefully, that I'm going to get to. It's Scary Drop Bear. Talk about power bills. I'm pricing out a Tesla power wall, and it's actually very well priced to other things on the market here in Australia. Nice. Yeah, one day I'd love to just have anything Tesla, especially a car. I considered it, I don't know, like last year, but I just didn't want to. I don't know. I definitely considered it. It's just a little bit more than I was comfortable with paying at the time. And then I didn't, my garage right now isn't the greatest. And so I was like, okay, do I go through all this to retrofit this old garage with this power for a Tesla? I don't know. And plus I really couldn't afford it anyways. But anyways, you're talking about the Powerwall. So sounds awesome. You'll have to let me know how that works out. Cause I want a Tesla battery in my house for all the reasons anyone does. Joroson, thanks Techno Tim for your videos. You got me finally to get going with Rancher and Kubernetes. Awesome. I was trying to get a 3-node cluster going in Rancher earlier, but it didn't get going this time, but it was the first attempt. All right, might take you a couple attempts. Let me know how it goes. I mean, I'll be going through some of the same stuff over the next couple of weeks. So if you don't figure it out, you can absolutely wait. That's not fun because you're probably a doer. If you already started this, you could figure it out yourself, or you could, ask in Discord as well. I think a few people have set up multi-node clusters with Kubernetes and Rancher. So Coder Lady, hey, not related, but I'm curious, how do you keep motivated to learn code? Coder Lady, hey, great question. How do I keep motivated? I think for me, it's variety. Variety for sure. It's variety. It's finding things that you're interested in that aren't code only. And so what do I mean by that? Not code only things I'm interested in. So a lot of people like writing code because they just love software development. They love a language they love. They love a specific language. They love features of a language. They like the art of writing code. And I do too. I when I can, I try to write good code, clean code. But for me, what's kept me interested over the years is to find projects where I can solve a problem with code, or do something fun with code. And so like PC Geek was talking about earlier, a Discord bot. When I get bored with stuff, I'm like, okay, I like Twitch, I like Discord. What can I automate in here? What can I figure out? Like, both Discord and Twitch have pretty good APIs, public APIs that you can use to consume stuff. And so for me, it was, hey, I'm going to build my own Discord bots to manage some communities, and I'm going to build my own Twitch bot to manage my channels. And so it's, for me, it's always, it's always a new problem with code. And so that's what keeps me motivated to learn. It's not because like, hey, now in TypeScript like 2.5, I can now use this function. Or hey, in JavaScript in ES6, now with a Babel transpiler, I can do this other thing. Like those are cool and those are fun. And they're sweet when you add them to your own code library and someone's like, what does that do? And you explain it to them, like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Those things are super fun. But for me, it's always just finding a new or an existing problem to solve with code. I mean, I did it in the lights in here. I did it with this Broadlink device to do infrared. My Wemo devices, I always find, something I'm interested in, IoT, and code. Something I'm interested in, Twitch, and code. Same with Discord and code. And so for me, it's always just finding a new problem and not necessarily just like, okay, it's Hello World V25. Let's go. Let's do this. How am I going to write my Hello World app in 2 lines of code, with these new features. So hopefully that answers your question. Your mileage may vary, but that's what keeps me interested in new problems and new tech too, because pairing tech and code is super fun because there's always new tech. So it's like, okay, sweet. Now, do they have a public API? Yeah, they do. Okay. They have a public API. I have a server. How can I automate this or do some cool things? Back there, my Raspberry Pi project, super fun one, where it was just like, hey, I have this Raspberry Pi, I have an LED screen. I have no idea how to control this LED panel, but I know how to get data from Twitch. I know how to get data from Twitter. I know how to get data from YouTube. Let's pair these. Let's figure this out. And so for me, that's always what it is. And that's pretty much that's what my whole entire channel is all about. If you haven't seen it, it's why there are a lot of tutorials, because I like to pair technology with things, usually hardware, and figure it out and do it. So anyways, yeah, great question though. Yeah, hopefully that answers. Fredessa, in the same boat. Techno sitting at 8.7K points. Man, I'm way behind. All right, I'm gonna plow through this. Get caught up. Fredessa, I'm in the same boat. Plus, I have a wife saying about the noise 5 servers makes when they're under load. Yeah, I haven't stressed these out yet. I have put a couple loads on them on my servers. We'll see how it goes. But they're in an unfinished basement. But I will say that when I was running a couple of my tests, I stood still in the kitchen. I'm like, what is that noise? Oh, it's the new fans. So anyways, my Dells, are in okay. It's a lull, a low kind of hum. These are a more high-pitched hum, because of smaller fans and faster RPMs, but we'll see. Techno, all right, let's see, sitting at 8.7 currently. Just remind me at the end of the stream and I'll see how much a tier 1 sub gains per streams. Yeah, that's right, because you get increased points too. Yeah. Sotos, thanks for the tips. No problem. PC Geek or No Route. Oh, I was just kidding around. I just spent 1K point and changed the lights. Yeah. Actually, Peanuts, private projects suspended pretty much. VPN to my OpenSense and backup and a backup strap for my NAS. That's all I can fit in. Starting a new job recently and doing enterprise cloud migrations, ergo not much time left. If you automate with IAC config files, are enough, by the way. Yeah, I totally agree. Hey, hey, as long as you have some time for personal stuff, hey, that's all you can ask for. But man, hopefully the cloud migrations are going okay. When you say enterprise cloud migrations, do you mean you're doing hybrid cloud now and you're moving all in the cloud? Do you mean you're moving to from cloud, Amazon to GCP or Azure, one of those? Yeah, interested to know. Ruffenbow, all right. Hi, Tim, love your content. I'm working on building a Proxmox server. All right. Already have all the hardware, now time to set up the VMs and containers. I'm sure I'll have a lot of questions as I continue to work on it. All right, we'll be here for sure. Zero tier, I need to know more about zero tier. See, now, once I see a term I don't recognize multiple times, that's when I write it down. Zero tier, gotta check it out, because there's been 3 or 4 people talking about it now. Icon Daroga, I've been using it this year, super simple and it just works. All right, yeah, I assume it's a VPN solution, but yeah. Hibskids, hey, how's things? Hey, good, fantastic here. Raisin MG, what type of hypervisor IaaF run like AWS is custom made and based on KVM or other solutions? What type of hypervisor run like AWS custom made? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I've done very little AWS stuff in the beginning, and I've done some Azure stuff, but I'm all GCP now. It's the Google Cloud Platform. But as far as hypervisors goes, I mean, Proxmox is a good one based on KVM. So let me know if that's what you're asking. Senpai Carter, hey Tim and Chad, how's it going? Good to see you. Simon, hello Tim and people. Hello, how's it going? PC Geek, did you see I got my bot to use banana command? I had to do it. I programmed it to count. So if you say banana 3 times, you will get yelled at. Oh yeah, no, I didn't see it yet. I need to check it out. I love it. We need to set something up. We need to set a few traps for Takano. He likes to throw that one in. Dusty Forned, hey, been a frequent watcher of your videos for a while. However, first time tuning into the stream. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Quick question, if you don't mind. Recently, I've been running into Proxmox freezing when running at least 90% RAM usage. What would be your suggestion? Upgrading the RAM to 128 gig plus, or exploring the world of servers at quite a young age? Hey, Dusty. So, I mean, your machine shouldn't lock up just because you've used up all your RAM. Like it should page to disk after that. I would say test your RAM. You know, in the video I just released, I ran mem test on 256 gigs of RAM on 2 different servers. It took a whole 2.5 days to complete. I mean, it takes a long time and it sucks. And I didn't want to wait it, but I didn't want to run into what you might be possibly running into is errors in your RAM. So if you can, I mean, I would run a mem test or pick your memory tester. I think I think Proxmox even has one built in as it boots up. You might have a line item there for it. I can't remember. I rarely see that screen. But run that and see if it is hardware. Because the hardware, if it's a hardware problem, you won't be able to solve it with software or throwing more hardware at it. It'll be replacing existing. So try that. That's like the only suggestion that I can have. You could throw more RAM at it, but if it's something wrong with one of the DIMMs, then you might run into that problem even with more RAM. Fortunately, I haven't had a lot of hardware issues other than drives dying. With PC builds every now and then I've had weird, strange motherboard issues. But to be honest, I've never had a bad stick of RAM in all of my life, I think. So I've been pretty fortunate, but yeah, that might be something to check out. Let me grab a drink. Hopefully that helps. Dusty, hopefully that helps out, man. Jorson, what made you pivot from game streaming to what you're doing now? What you're doing now is much more interesting to me, but wondered what was the catalyst. Yeah, this has come up a few times. I'll keep it short. I love playing games. I have my whole entire life. I miss games because I haven't been able to play them in a while because I'm doing this instead. And so game streaming was a way for me to both play games and stream at the same time. But I realized a couple things while doing it. One, it's crowded. It's tough to stand out when you play games. I used to play a lot of indie games because I thought they were interesting. I thought they were unique. And I thought that people would be interested in them. I sure was. And so that worked out okay. But I started to rethink about okay, what am I doing nights and weekends? What am I super interested in? And how can I incorporate that so that I can do, what I love, the other thing I love, and share it. And so that's where I was like, man, I've been, building, hosting, self-hosting, building servers, PCs for a long time. And I thought, well, maybe I can try this. And so I've been doing this stuff for a really long time. And I just thought I'll give it a shot. What do I have to lose? I can go back to streaming games that I like, or I can try something new. And so I tried something new. And what was the catalyst? I think it was just, it's hard to grow on Twitch, on YouTube with just playing games. And don't get me wrong, I love games. And there's a lot of people who do it really, really well. And it was just hard. And I thought, well, I'm going to try and go full nerd. Because my family, everyone that knows me knows I've been full nerd for a long time. And so I was just you know what? Maybe I'll just go full nerd in public on Twitch and, on YouTube. And I was just well, that's when I decided to give it a shot. The live, I'll be totally honest and I'll be vulnerable right now. I'm still figuring out the live stream part. That's tough. That's tough when you do tech stuff. You have a few things to do. You have a handful of stuff to do. And so, I can try to build stuff live, which is tough because then I have to plan, a lot of things and have a lot of hardware and make sure it's a very technical live stream. Or, I can talk about the news and then I got to do a ton of research news and, and get, again, a lot of planning. And then, I've done a few streams in the beginning where I was just going to hey, let's talk about things you're having problems with or things that you're interested in. That's when I realized hey, a lot of people like to talk about what they're interested in. This is awesome because I'm interested in this stuff too. And so, full disclosure, still figuring out the live piece. But I enjoy hearing about things you're working on, all these new technologies. I think the last stream, I filled an entire page of things that either I can investigate or look into. And so I get inspired by everyone else's projects too. I get to hear about cool projects, things that maybe I can put my lens on it and put my spin on it, and automate or write some code or build something too. So I don't know. Anyways, the catalyst was I still wanted to I wanted to still create content, but I just went full nerd. And so the catalyst was like, okay, like let's give this one more good shot. Because I gave game streaming a couple of good shots, but obviously I've learned a ton more along the way. I might be able to apply that to gaming someday and do that, but I like this. I like this. I like talking about tech. It's just a huge, and teaching tech and learning about tech, it's such a huge topic. There's like no end to it. So anyways, maybe someday I'll stream some games again. I need to work it in at some point because it's the only time I play games. My Xbox is now basically my media consumer, for Plex, or TV, live TV, or movies or Netflix or Hulu, you name it. And my PC now is my content creation station versus my gaming station. So it's, things have changed. Doesn't mean I don't still love games. I was just talking about them last night. And so, I'd love to play some more. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of the history of why I pivoted from game streaming to tech. Because I live tech all day anyway. And I feel like doing this too helps me during the day. I get to learn a ton. Am I up to date on the latest games? No, I kind of missed that. But do I get to learn about cool tech that I can tell people at work about on Monday? Absolutely. So yeah, good question. Fredessa, like when they shifted from PowerPC to Intel. Oh man, I'm way behind because this is Mac stuff. I'm going to get caught up. Sci-Fi Jeep Guy, doing good. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you too. Actually, Peanuts, Risk is more concept and Arch than actual competition at this point, and probably for the next 10 years. No desktop dev currently happening. Awesome. Good to know. Simon, great video today, Tim. Thank you. I have a question about SSDs you chose. I have an Evo 970 for operating systems, and I'm happy with it. But for server, I will be buying a new SSD for Proxmox server soon, and I was wondering if I should get a WD Red SSD or one of the Evos. Why did I choose them? Yeah, great question. So I didn't elaborate a ton on why I went with enterprise grade SSDs because I talked about it a little bit on my live stream when we were talking about those 1U servers, but I'll elaborate now. I did throw that in there that I purposely chose consumer grade. I wasn't just like, hey, I'm going to throw these. I put no thought into these SSDs. So I'm going to throw them in. The reason why I think I will continue to do this, go with consumer grade stuff, especially for what I'm building now, is cost. And that's with the caveat that I have redundancy built in. So the way I'm going to set this up, I'm going to do a Stripe VDEV, basically RAID 10 with ZFS, with 4 drives where I can encounter the loss of 2 drives before I lose all my data. And so these SSDs are going to be 100% virtual machines only. 100% virtual machines only. Stripe VDEV, which is RAID 10, I guess. 1+0, I better say it that way or someone's going to yell at me like they did once in comments. And I was like, no, RAID 10 can be said too. Anyways, and so the reason why I'm comfortable with that is because I can lose 2 drives. The other reason why I'm comfortable with that is because these drives have a 5-year warranty. If I burn these out, there's a caveat there too, but I'll go down this path first. If I wear these out, if I burn them out, if they die, I can lose up to 2 before I lose data. So I'm comfortable with that. Well, any RAID solution's pretty good if you can lose 2 drives and still run. The next thing is that if I overuse them, if I burn them out, or there's too much wear, that's still covered under warranty. And so I look at it like, am I going to pay double the price for drives that will give me some more longevity? Or in 5 years, will these drives either be not big enough or not fast enough? 5 years is pretty hard to predict out. But, any drive manufacturer's got you covered for 5 years on warranty. And if it were just one drive and it was super critical and I was worried about wear, I would spend the extra money. But when I'm buying 4 times 2, because I have 2 servers, 8 1 terabyte SSDs, I started to think, well, if I lose 50% of these and can still run, pay, a third of the price, and I got a 5-year warranty, I'm cool with that. And so, I'm not saying this fits for everyone, but for me, that's why I did it. It's because the cost. And I will call Samsung, and I'll call them, I'll email them, or whatever. I'll find RMA with any hardware manufacturer when a drive dies and it's still covered under warranty, and I get it replaced for free. And so that's why I went with consumer grade. And that's why a lot of times I will choose consumer grade unless I'm doing, something super critical, one drive, and it's absolutely critical. But then I ask myself, well, if it's that critical, why only one drive? Why not get two? Get two and then go cheap, get consumer grade, and call them out on their warranty. And so that was my thinking. Maybe it's not the best. Maybe it'll come back to bite me. But that's my thinking. The only thing I'm worried about is the wear, the even wear on all four drives at the same time, And, if I get to 99.99% wear on every drive, all four at the same time, then I might be eating my words later on. Remind me in like 2 years and we'll see where my wear is at. But then, that was my thinking. Those are things I had to think through. And so, yeah, Simon, great question. These are trade-offs, where I had to say, am I gonna, and pay a third less, and a third less on one drive, is, $100-200. But when you multiply that by 8, that's a lot of money. And that's where I was like, you know what, I filled my server with some commodity stuff. I'm going to continue to do it, probably for drives too, because I'm going to build redundancy into the RAID itself. So yeah, great question. Thank you for asking. Sigor, hey, how's it going? Treadstone, personally, SK Hynix Gold SSDs, Crucial or Evos are my go-to depending on price. Yeah, nice. Linux Talks, would you recommend to mirror the Proxmox boot device? I would. I would. I didn't. I'm not going to. Have I ever before? Let me think about that one. I haven't. Should I? Probably. I back up the configs on my Proxmox server. That's one where it's like, am I gonna buy 2 SATA DOMs? And so for me, answering that specific question to my current build, I didn't want to buy 2 SATA DOMs, nor would they fit in my current solution with my video card or my PCI Express device. And should you? Probably. It's probably pretty critical. But again, this goes back to, I'm going to have 2 servers in a cluster, not HA. But in the event that one goes down, I could spin up that machine again, pretty decent, based on a backup of the drive if I have it, or the config from the Proxmox servers because I back those up, and then the config on the virtual machine if I don't back up that machine. So, I ran out of SATA space. I only had 4 hot swappable bays, so I was like, not gonna mirror the Proxmox boot device. Probably should, but again, it's I had to make some trade-offs, so I didn't. Treadstone, depends how dangerously you want to live, I suppose. But if you have backups, you're probably fine. Yeah, you're right there. I'm right there with you. No route. You can use any hardware or software phone you like as long as it supports SIP. Oh, SIP protocol. I haven't heard that in a while. I work for a big VoIP provider as an engineer. Nice. If you have any questions, you can find me on Discord under the same nickname, No Route. Thank you so much. Maybe one day. I think it'd be kind of cool to have a handset on my desk. I don't know why. I didn't like it on my desk at work, but at home, kind of cool. Especially if it's self-hosted, open source, PBX or something like that. If they're still called PBXs, I don't know. Sounds awesome though. Hey, thanks for the link, PC Geek. No route, Techno Tim. I would also love to help you out making a video about self-hosted VoIP systems. Hey, maybe someday. Yeah. Oh man, I don't even know where to begin with that one. How do I get a phone number and all of that stuff? I'm sure it's you guys have figured it out. That's cool. I saw a video yesterday on PGA SIP with a free PBX and something as well above my head. Yeah, it sounds above my head too. I haven't done a ton of it. Actually, Peanuts, for home, use mirroring boot devices is probably overkill given that you're going to reinstall Proxmox, import the existing VMs, and you have the spare money and rely on the hardware. Maybe a different story. Yeah, I'm kind of there with you too. Proxmox doesn't write a ton. It reads. It writes, more than you would want to continue to write on a USB, but I guess that doesn't matter because you never know when drives are going to die in general. But yeah, I'm there with you. Let's see here. CG bass player, Techno Tim. I believe they have a broad list of phones you can buy or you can use 3CX, but they have an app for smartphones that let you use those to start. Nice. Oh yeah, start with an app. I like it. Software-based phone. I also have it hosted in a small VM on one of my Proxmox server from CG bass player. Yeah, I got to check this out. Gilnate. Oh, is this Gillenius? Hi. Will you consider saving those Twitch streams into a separate YouTube account with some description and maybe timestamps with good question marks? Possibly, Galenius. I do. So I have a separate YouTube account that's called Techno Tim Archives, and every Twitch stream gets there eventually. Am I going to go through and spend the time and put time codes? I'll try my best, but that's a lot of effort too, and that's why sometimes I take notes here so that I can try to put them in there, but that's a ton of time. That's a ton of time. And so I maybe one day, if I get more than 100 subs on that channel, I'll put a little bit more effort into it. But for now, it's just going to be a dump of archives with the title, with highlights of what we talked about. Time codes, absolutely. Main channel, 100%. I've been doing them almost since day one. I've been doing them before they were cool to do them. So absolutely, my main channel will have them. My archive channel, it depends. That's kind of my low effort channel, just because it's just a place to get my archives. So yeah, great question though, for sure. Mathne, did you like the memes? I didn't see the memes. Maybe that's something else. No, nope, not from Network Chuck. It's part-time student, part-time VoIP engineer. All right, I totally missed that one. That was about the ethical hacking. Hey, Marcel Hendricks 97, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Vash, once you have tab complete in terminal, it's hard to give it up. Yeah, for sure. That's why I love Omazish so much, because they have plugins too. And so tab completion I love it in Omazish, especially for Docker and Kubernetes, because it'll actually query Kubernetes for you. And it's just not tab completion for arguments. It's also tab completion when it queries Kubernetes, which is super awesome. Like I can go, kube control, get pod, tab, and there's all my pod names. Same with Docker containers too. But anyways, I love Omazish and tab completion in general, for sure. Takano, how to keep devs on their feet? Just set your identifier to pretend to be or something. Yeah, user agents. Yeah. So yeah, it used to be a way. A lot of people did user agent detection. And I won't lie. Sometimes we have to do it in my day job just because it's tough or easy or something. The right way to do it is feature detection, where you actually test a feature. And if that browser doesn't support that feature, then you fall back gracefully to a different experience or a different method or something else. And so, yeah. But yeah, user agent, you can totally throw them off. But yeah, actually, Peanuts, depends on your use case. Do you want to put it in front of Kate's or for the whole network? Does your OpenSense provide enough granularity already? I have OpenSense as well, and I like to add only necessary services in my home. Yeah. You guys are figuring something out for sure. Treadstone. Vivaldi is a Chromium-based, but very feature-rich, aimed to power users. To name two of my favorite features, tab tiling. Okay, you could essentially split up tabs into one window as if you had many windows. Nice. The next feature is you can create different profiles. Each profile has its own data, and uses its own instance of Vivaldi. No SSO issues. Yeah. So it sounds like Firefox, because Firefox has had that for a long time too. They have basically containers or data containers for their tabs, where you're like, okay, this one's for my banking and this one's for my email, and this, so that you're not mixing stuff and mixing, all of that stuff together. And then you don't have to worry about signing in multiple accounts. You're just like, this is the one tab that I sign in with, whatever. And Google's not a good example because they handle switching accounts easily. Twitter used to be another example, but now they handle switching accounts easily on the web. But name your other thing you have multiple accounts for, and that's where it kind of helps. So yeah, cool. I'll have to check it out for sure. I've heard the name for sure. Synapse. Hi, Tim. trying to go through the Rancher reverse proxy, and I'm not sure about setting up DNS. Can you advise? Sure. And this one comes up a lot. So I think you're talking about when I was like, hey, like set up your local DNS to point this to this IP address, or use your host file. So I'm going to say that again, but with a little more context. So yeah, basically you want to set up your host file. Easy thing to do is go into your host file, add an entry, and point it at your MetaLLB IP, that endpoint that you just created. And that will only work on your machine, obviously, because it's how your host is. It's how your machine's going to resolve. It's the resolve order for how your machine's going to resolve that host name to IP address. If you want to do it more broadly for your whole entire network at home, so you can do it on any machine and even your mobile device, then you would do it in DNS, and you might not have DNS running somewhere, but on your router, they have their own system for resolving host names too, where you might be able to create a host entry in there. So I'd say start with your host file, because that's just going to work, and most of the time you're going to be on your own machine. If you need to do it more broadly, look at your router and see if your router supports creating a local DNS entry. If you're using Pi-hole, you can do it there too. They have local DNS built in. And so that the point of that is just so your machine can resolve a host name to a MetaLLB IP, because that MetaLLB IP isn't necessarily a client on your machine that's registered anywhere that you can resolve the name from. And so you need to resolve it. So hopefully that helps. Choi Wei, how long did it take to move to the dev side of your company? Are you still there? Didn't take long. Well, shortly after I was interested, something opened up. And so, hey, real quick, Voltaix. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. How long did you move to the dev side at your company? So I moved there for a long time. So I moved there until I left the company. And then I went to the next company for doing, more stuff for a bigger company. And I still did dev there. And then I left that company to do more things and more stuff. So am I still there? No, not at the first company. Nope. I'm, a startup with some friends. Linux Tux. I have used C# at vocational schools, and I hate it. JavaScript or TypeScript better, and Python is so much better. Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with that. That's how I got started, though. At the time, that was, you had a few choices in enterprise, at least in my time. It seemed like in big enterprises, they were either .NET shops or Java shops, and it was like, pick your poison. And open source was this, kind of scary thing, and obviously there was a little bit of JavaScript, but, a lot of the internal stuff that we did, it was just like, didn't have a lot of modern tools to solve modern problems at the time. And so, JavaScript was, we were targeting IE browsers for enterprise stuff, and it was just like, yeah, as long as it works, and that's obviously not the case now. So yeah, I totally agree. Like I love JavaScript, love TypeScript. I love Python too. I even did a little bit of it. Can't say I love it yet. I haven't done enough of it. Nothing wrong with it. I just have to use it more to be able to love it. But yeah, definitely love JavaScript and TypeScript. Use it all the time. Opus, if you have a slow computer, is there a service you can use to run your code? If you have a slow computer, is there service? Yeah, there are tons of services out there. So, yeah, absolutely. So, I think what you're, so I understand what you're asking, but I think what you're looking for is just a hosting provider, right? And there are lots of them out there. I mean, you have AWS, you have Heroku, you have Azure, you have Google Cloud, you have big ones, you have little ones, you have DigitalOcean. So there are a lot of places you can go that will host your code. And so I think that's what you're trying to ask, is because you just don't want to run your code on your own machine because you have an old machine, and maybe you're developing on it. Code running on your machine is probably going to take less resources than developing the code, just because, the tools you use to develop code are pretty heavy. But yeah, plenty of places out there, big, small, everything in between. Everyone wants to host your code or host your data. So yeah, absolutely, there are places out there. Treadstone, I think Vivaldi is partially open source. It's at least very close to the mission statements of Firefox. All right, I like Firefox's mission statements. Focus on privacy. Cyber Jeep Guy, I didn't go into programming career for a choice. but I was 11 or 12 copying small programs on a TI 994A TI basic form, old magazines, mid 80s computer, not a calculator. Nice. That's awesome that you were able to, do something like that for sure. Geeky Fez, just finished watching one of your server upgrade video server. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you for making it all the way over here from YouTube. It's a big hop. And I don't say that, I'm not being snarky. Sometimes, it's, people's attention. And so I appreciate you coming over from here for sure, from there for sure. Actually, Peanuts, yeah, the parts coming from the OS have to stay OS. Not good enough for me. It's the closed parts I don't trust. Yeah. Sometimes the secret sauce, the secret sauce, what is it? Why? Why does it have to be secret? Ines, just watch your videos about your servers, and I think you placed your memory in the wrong slots. Yeah, a couple of people have mentioned that. Thank you. I thought I was going to put in all 256 in that shot, and then I was like, I'll just fill half of it. But you're right. If I want, I think, dual or quad channel, I got to go keep them all black or all blue. So that's on my list. Like I said, haven't had a ton of time to do anything on them. Outside of build them and get them spun up. But thank you for, someone mentioned that in the comment. I got to look at the manual again. I thought I looked at the manual and I thought Supermicro said like, hey, you start where I started and you work your way towards the CPU. But traditionally you would think if you want dual channel, you fill the same colored slots. But thank you, I appreciate that. PC Geek frame drops. Yeah, I am experiencing some frame drops. I don't know where it's coming from because, OBS is telling me no, but I see it, which is weird. So it is. I noticed it's been slowing down a few times. Yeah. Hey, Need for Tweed. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. How are you doing today on this fine Saturday? Linux Tux. Is it possible to connect a server to the cloud through a VPN onto my Nextcloud instance on my local server instead of exposing a port on my router? Yes. I had to think about that one. Yeah, you could. It might be kind of complicated. Because you would have to set up like a load balancer or something in the cloud, and then create a VPN tunnel to that cloud server or to your load balancer. Your DNS, public DNS would point to your load balancer in the cloud, and then it would tunnel back to your server at home. Kind of sounds exactly like what Cloudflare does for you for free. Like a SSL proxy tunnel to their servers or from their endpoint, from their load balancer to you. And so you can. But then, I would argue, why do that? Okay, so I'll say this. I see the benefit of doing that is that you get to mask your IP address. Absolutely, I totally agree with that. So if you just want to mask your IP address and you don't want people to know your public IP address when they go to your Nextcloud instance, you can use the free SSL and free proxy tunnel from Cloudflare. You just need to use them for DNS. You don't have to use them as your registrar or anything like that. Use them as your name server. And so, I've done the same thing. Even though I have SSL on all my stuff, I get another layer of SSL from them, and I get to go through their load balancer that then provides all of the goodness that you get from Cloudflare, like denial of service attacks, yada, 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 filtering out all bad IPs and stuff like that. So might be worth looking into Linux Tux. Otherwise, what you're trying to do absolutely will work. It's just going to take some infrastructure to get going, and you're going to have to rent something in the cloud. Titreme, do you use IPMI only from LAN? How do you ensure security when you use IPMI? Yeah, great question. Real quick, Tim B. All right, Tim B. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Gurgi. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you both. Do I use IPMI only from the LAN? How do you ensure security when you use IPMI? Yeah, absolutely I do. Only LAN, only. And it's on a secure VLAN. It's on a secure management VLAN that nothing else can get to except for me, that I know of. But yeah, absolutely. How do I ensure security? So a couple things. One is I secure the VLAN that it's on. Hey, Dwolf. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. I secure the VLAN that it's on so that I know that other devices from other VLANs can't get there. Okay, so then what happens if someone were to get on that VLAN and then get to my IPMI NIC? Yeah, another great question. What would happen is, one, my IPMI NIC has SSL. Hey, Nick Lass, the geek, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. So I won't, maybe I shouldn't talk about transport security, but I kind of will. So I have, the NIC has SSL on it. It's a self-sign, but obviously it still encrypts the traffic in flight, right? So that no one can sniff that traffic, right? So if someone's on my VLAN and I'm connected to my IPMI NIC, it's going through SSL, so you can't sniff that packet and get anything useful out of it. Then on top of that, the web interface itself has password security, right? So I have a very complex password and a very complex username on that NIC so that the web server that serves it out is only going to use, only allow me in, presumably, with my username and password. When you launch, when you launch the actual remote control piece, they secure it over Java, and there's some security pieces built into there too. Do I fully understand them? No. Is it over SSL? Yeah. Do I trust that they're doing the right thing? Absolutely. Otherwise, I wouldn't even use it. But so then, yeah, at the end of the day, do I use it over the internet? Absolutely not. Because I don't want to expose that thing to the internet. Absolutely. No way. And even if I were to, then you got to think about those other security measures that I have in place that would protect me if I were to. And then to top it all off, I can VPN back in home. And if I VPN back into home and need to get to my IPMI NIC, I can, right? Because when I VPN in, then I'm like me on my normal secure network. And so that's how I treat it. Do I trust it? I kind of have to, otherwise I wouldn't use it. I'd unplug the thing. And so, Supermicro's built some security into it that I kind of have to trust too. I have to trust that SSL is doing what it's supposed to do. If it's not doing what it's supposed to do, I trust the browser to tell me, hey, this isn't doing what it's supposed to do. Like when it warns on self-signed certificate errors, those types of things. But at the end of the day, even if it is self-signed, the tunnel or the connection is still secure. So as long as no one else has that key, right? But yeah, so that, I've had to do very little other than secure password, secure username, and then lock down the network that it's on. But yeah. Built to fire. I should have let you answer this question. IPMI on trusted VLAN. Mic drop. Yeah, I should have let you answer that question because it was a lot better, more concise than mine. But thank you. And PC Geek, you too. Yeah, keep it on the VLAN, strong password. Man, I should let you guys run. I should just, yeah, for sure. I should read more comment than the last question because you guys have solved this already, so I appreciate it. Built to fire, yes, but a 2U and 10G is kind of better to tinker with. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. If you have the space and want the power and need the power, I mean, that's like saying like, hey, whatever, name your processor or upgrade is fun to tinker with. I agree. But I will say that these are going to be used for production, my own production, as well as some experimentation, as well as some public service stuff I run. So I don't need 10 gig on these servers. Maybe I will one day. Maybe I'll stop doing transcoding on my Quadro card and I'll throw a 10 gig NIC in there. But yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Name your upgrade. Is that fun to play with? Heck yeah, it is. But these are, for the most part, are going to be used for my real stuff with some tinkering. And so I still have those other two servers now that I can tinker with, that I can throw a 10 gig card in and play around with. That is a 2U server too, for sure. Yeah. Now you're giving me ideas. The wheels are turning, built to fire. Sefin, initiating my new server, installed Proxmox with some VMs and LAC. Yeah. Right now, I'm setting up Open Media Vault. Oh, nice. With Merge FS and SnapRate as a VM. Loving it. Cheers. I keep looking at, I keep my finger on the pulse of Open Media Vault. And what's the other one? What's the other one that uses ButterFS that it seems dead? I keep keep my finger on the pulse of both of those because I'm always curious what they're doing because a lot of people use those too. Glad to know you're loving it. I don't know anything about Merge FS. Man, so many file systems. Hopefully it's something close to ZFS, but without some of the requirements of ZFS. But yeah, man. What's the Rockstore? Rockstore is the one with ButterFS. That's the one I keep looking at too. Like, are there any commits? How is this thing doing? Is it still alive? Because they were trying to solve some of the, some of the hard problems or some of the requirements that ZFS has and not doing ZFS. So it's, yeah. I kind of want to, at some point I want a JBOD array that's similar to ZFS. And hopefully those features start to come to ZFS in the future too. Because I have a lot of extra disks that I just want to throw in a gigantic array. And so that's why I kind of keep my finger on the pulse of Open Media Vault, Rockstore, or any other NATs, is because at some point, I won't spill everything, but at some point I want to build a gigantic JBOD just for some other stuff. But yeah, glad to know you're loving it for sure. Neuralinks, if you have the rack space for it, a 2U, a 4U is easier to mess with. Yeah, totally agree. I have 1 U's, 2 U's, 3 U's, and I have 4? I think 4. My disk array is 4U. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm getting low on rack space though, for sure. But yeah, I totally agree. When you have all the space, it's like when I used to work on one of my old cars. It's like you open up the hood and it's like you have all the space. You could like stand inside where the engine is. Now, if you open up a hood, you're just like, whoa, I can't even get a finger in between some of this stuff. Yeah, it's a tight squeeze in my rack. I still have 1U totally, and so I have 1U left. But if I truly decommission some of my older servers, I'll gain back. I'll have 5U open, but not sure yet. PC Geek, actually Peanuts. Actually Peanuts. Yep, IPMI is built for LAN, as said, trusted VLAN even. If you ever want over the web, VPN only, but that's not an edge case. Not many people do that. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You guys, we're all in the same wave. Thank you. Pizza Geek already had it covered. Yeah, for sure. Raising. I got to pronounce these right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have any idea about the type of hypervisor? I think we talked about this. Am I seeing the same thing? I already, maybe you copy and pasted, or maybe I reread it, but I'm not sure of the hypervisor that AWS runs. I'm not sure, because they abstract all that stuff away from you. They're just like, want to spin up a machine? What's your type? And you pick you pick from their template. Bill Nash, smaller form factor, start scooping up used Mac Minis and use the new ARM. Yeah, as the new ARM line comes out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if they weren't soldered down. I think I have one of the, well, I used to, and we do at work, have one of the last Mac Minis where the hard drive and memory aren't soldered in. So those are the hot commodities right now, for sure, because you could throw a gigantic SSD in them, and you can throw, whatever, 8 gigs or whatever the max RAM is in them, and now you got your Mac build server. So yeah. Actually, Peanuts, Google runs on its own developed software. If you want to check the history, Google Borg, which is their PaaS, or Platform as a Service. Thank you. The PC Geek, you need 3 for HA anyways. Yeah, I'm not doing HA. Yeah, for sure. You have to configure replication for HA and all the nodes identical for storage configured. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not too interested in HA. No, I just need cluster. Yeah, we're right there. Snaps, you have the week off. Me too. Oh man. All right, I'm gonna get caught up for sure. Yeah, for sure. What are you gonna run in the old Dell server? TBD. I got some ideas. Need to flesh them all out. Sotos, any other Techno Tim fans from the Netherlands? Yeah, there are a lot of people from the Netherlands. Yeah. Gigafied, would you ever consider a 1U ARM server? Absolutely, I would. Absolutely, if I can find the right one. Restec, have you ever set up Longhorn storage? Is it worth it? Have not yet. I've read a lot about it. I listened to their one of their vlogs about it. I'm interested. My interest is peaked. I'll have some stuff coming. Sigor, classic weekend Fook state. Classic week. Oh man, I'm not sure what you mean there. Jorison, I was going to add a new server at Home Lab, but plumped for a VPS from SSD nodes. The cost seemed okay. When I took the cost into account of powering everything, yeah, I agree. It will make life more like seeing. It will make it more like It will make it more lifelike seeing, as I can't just get at it and fix it. Yeah. Sometimes it's super nice to rent a machine in the cloud, because at the end of the day, I SSH into everything. It's in the basement. It's in the basement. It could be in the cloud. But yeah. Awesome. You found an alternative for sure. I think ESXi can run on ARM. Yeah, I saw that recently here too. Gigafied. That's been a thing for quite a while now. Yeah. Restech, my Prime sub is available tomorrow. Hey, yeah. Well, I'll see you absolutely next week, but you can use it tomorrow or use it on someone else for sure. So use it for sure. Use those benefits from Amazon for sure. On any channel, just to be clear, because it's free. Actually, Peanuts. Oh, you were right. Latest version does. Moline does not. So yeah, actually, why not? You're still limited to ARM compatible guest affair. Sethin, what would you say to the best bang for your buck for a low powered all-in-one computer you can host some stuff on? Yeah, energy efficient though. Yeah. Best bang for your buck is going to be, it's going to be a Ryzen processor. It's going to be a desktop class processor with just basically look at any of your budget PC builds and with 4 cores, maybe more, 6. Ryzen has an odd count, but look at your Ryzen line and build something like that. That's Mazzy. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. So I would look at it with the lens of like building a budget PC, right? And I know that like, hey, if you're just getting started, maybe you don't want to spend all the money. It's a lot of money for ECC RAM. Don't spend your money there if you're not going to do ZFS or anything. Arguably, if you're just starting, like you might not even care about that anyways. But I would just look at PC Part Picker or anything, or any budget build gaming PC build out there. Just take out the video card, and arguably you might not even need SSDs either. So I would look at a budget PC, something Ryzen, something with 4-ish cores, probably more, maybe 6. And go that route, because then you're all set. But what I always, I tell people to do is like, okay, instead of building this, single purpose device, and just for that, I mean, maybe you just upgrade, the gaming PC or the PC that you're on now and use that one then as your first server, because that thing that you're running on now is going to be way more performant than what you plan on building. For the most part, if you're going for a budget build, and then you get to use, the new upgraded PC more than the other one. But if you're going for low powered, arguably your gaming PC that you might be on isn't going to be low powered. So yeah, I would look at budget. I would totally go to Reddit or PC Part Picker and scour or search for a budget Ryzen low power build and go with that, because it's such a great value. Yeah. Gigafied, and it would make one sweet for Docker host. Actually, Peanuts, next year's will show off ARM can get a foot in the server space. We'll need to wait. Yeah. And I'm not much in data centers anymore, and I started on cloud 3 years ago. So thanks, guys, got me. Gigafied, it is already in the server space for a good while now. I've seen some too, just on the internet, not in real life. Senpai Carter, some of the new ARM processors are very exciting. The server space, because they have 3 or 4 threads per physical processor. Rothenbow, home lab server closet behind the TV in the living room. Quietness is a must. Yeah, especially if it's behind the TV and you got, watching movies or anything. Actually, Peanuts, can't disclose much about the cloud projects, NDA and such, but cloud migrations take between 4 and 100 weeks, and hybrid is a must in the transition phase. And I exclusively do GCP. Colleagues do some other stuff. Yeah. Senpai Carter, Rough and Bow. I built my server around quite the same reason. It's dead silent. I don't know if that was a pun or a typo, but I like it. Bass player, Zero Tier creates a virtual network adapter to treat things like they're out over the internet as LAN device, as long as they're within your ZT network. Definitely worth looking into. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So there you go. When we were talking about hosting, going back to the question about, hosting, hosting Nextcloud, but not exposing your IP. I didn't know you could test RAM. Yeah, you can for sure. Memtest. Zero Tier is a peer-to-peer VPN tunnel. Nice. Been using it for a few years. Love it. Oh my God, no, not full nerd. Yeah, I'm full nerd. I went full nerd a long time ago. Oh my gosh, I just realized how far behind I am. I'm getting caught up. I'm getting super close. Gigafied, there will always be haters, but trying to improve is never a bad thing. Thank you. Canister Copel. For hard drives, I went consumer years ago. I mean, they are decent fast, and if I really need SSD speed, SSD is the way to go. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I know there are a lot of purists that are like, need enterprise, but you know what? I'm calling manufacturers out on their warranties and gonna pay a lower price now. That's for me. And then build redundancy into the system, either into the whole entire system or into your RAID, and then it's whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, everyone has to play this game. Even enterprise devices aren't 100% fail-proof. So you have to do that same equation in your head, and you have to build the same redundancy into those systems too. And so that's where I side with, like, gonna go consumer grade, 5-year warranty. In 5 years, a 500 gig or a one terabyte SSD might just be like peanuts. I mean, think about the SSD size you had 5 years ago. I mean, we were probably super excited at 128 gig, right? We were like, yeah, this thing's beast mode. Maybe not. Maybe, yeah. Because I had 500 gigs in SSDs. I'm like, yeah, this will play all my games. Yeah, no way. Anyways, so you have to do that same equation. And really, I think manufacturers are just like, well, in year 4, there's no way anyone's going to send us any of these for a warranty claim. But you never know. TWGDC, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Fat Caitlin, Fat Cat Lincoln, sorry about that. Thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome. I bought 6 of these drives, 5-year warranty. Nice. HGST Ultra Star, yeah, those are super popular too. I have a few of those. One of my servers were plugged with HGST drives. Bill Nash, I just heard Tim say that if you don't know when your drives are going to die, y'all doing, what are y'all doing for smart monitoring? Yeah. So, yes, hopefully. I mean, you got your smart stuff too, and you have things in ZFS that can monitor for errors. Other than that, I just check on the wear. I kind of, I do, obviously in TrueNAS can keep an eye on your devices, your hard drives, for both errors and do smart tests. And so I run those. Anything outside of that, I'm just kind of like, well, just hope it doesn't die. And if it does die, I have a RAID and I'll take care of it then. Good question though. Senpai Carter, I have the 3 terabyte equivalent of those. They are great. Nice. Galenius, there are a lot of questions, but thanks for the answers. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Canister, Copel, to be honest, if the SSD are implemented decent, they should switch in and read-only mode when they realize they can't write without losing data. I like that. Noral, if you use Oh My Zish, check out Power Level 10K. Is that the one that, like, as you're typing, like, things explode? I think it is, because I've used it before. Maybe. If it is, let me know. And I've done that same thing. I there was a plugin in Atom, and there was a plugin in VS Code, and as you're, like, typing, like, it's, like, exploding, and you're, like, building up these combos, which is awesome. Reese, Vivaldi isn't open source. All right. Lightning Blade, hi, followed your Rancher Kate's Minecraft video, but found that the Rancher UI is overwhelming, so I went for Portainer without the Kates instead. Will this limit me if I only have one server anyway? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're totally fine, totally acceptable. I think the key takeaway from a lot of my videos is, like, containerize things when you can and when it makes sense. And so if you're going to containerize those with LXC, which is a different type of containerization, but if you're going to containerize them with, use Portainer to manage your containers, or you're going to use Kubernetes, or you're going to use Rancher, or any of those. At the end of the day, it just makes me happy when people use containers, because they're so flexible, and you start to realize how much less you have to manage. And I know a lot of people will say, "Wow, that seems super complicated to spin up Docker on Plex." When you have a UI and you plug in forms, it kind of looks overwhelming. But at the same time, I have 2 folders that I have to back up, and I never worry about it again. Upgrades are super simple. Rollbacks are super simple. Keeping the service alive is super simple. And so, yeah. So those are all the things that I like about containerization. And those are the things that orchestration frameworks give you. And so, hey, don't feel bad that if you're doing Portainer single host and just managing Docker only, because I do that too on one of my machines. So absolutely, because I want Docker, but I don't want headless Docker. And so I have one machine that only runs Docker, because I can't run it in Kubernetes because a little bit of a inception thing, but you'll know here soon. So I use Portainer on that machine, Portainer only. Everything else is Kubernetes Rancher. But when I decided do I really want to run plain old Docker and SSH into this guy just to check the logs? Not really. So yeah, I did the same thing on one of my servers. So yeah, it's totally fine. Sotos, any tips on managing IP host names at sea, or etc. Information in home lab networking with all this amounts of VMs, servers, IoT devices? It's hell to manage. Yeah. So a lot of people keep talking about this new networking tool. I already forgot the name. You'd think I wouldn't forget about it as much as everybody's been talking about it. But for me, I'm looking for the same thing. Right now, because I use Netbox. Thank you, Takano. So Netbox, I think, might be able to help. Now I'm prescribing something I've never even looked at. I've only looked at I've never used and only looked at for a couple of minutes. It does seem like that isn't, I don't know if that's a documentation tool, or it's more of, or it's more of, keeping your config or your infrastructure as code type tool. Haven't looked enough, but it seems interesting. It's new hotness right now. But for me personally, I had that same problem. What I do, I think that's a Midwest thing. What I do is that, fortunately or unfortunately, I have a UDM Pro. Their UIs are pretty okay when they work. And so I have one place to look for all that stuff. Is it a spreadsheet? No. Do I need it to be a spreadsheet? Not really. And so, most of that stuff is going to be, I like to keep that stuff in its environment rather than keep a copy of it somewhere else. And so, I haven't had a real need to put that stuff in another system unless I'm migrating. And so for me, the UDM does a decent job of keeping all that stuff. And plus it's SDN. So when I change something, it's going to go out and deploy the changes there anyways too. So, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Voltiex, hi there. Voltworks, thank you for coming in and then just saying right away how to pronounce your name. Thank you so much. Volt, how's it going? You can call me that. All right, and that's your only comment. Thank you so much, because that helps. You just made my next 10 minutes. Well, thank you. Welcome. Treadstone. I think DigitalOcean has a GitHub project for that, but the name is escaping me. Nice. Yeah, Netbox. Yeah, you guys are all talking about it. Yeah, because the former, I don't know if it's former DigitalOcean engineers or DigitalOcean engineers in general created Netbox. Yeah. Treadstone, no problem. I'm cleaning up the mess of stuff at work, so I've been looking into it. No, it's not. It doesn't meet the 10 criteria to be open source. Oh, you guys are still talking about Vivaldi. All right. Niklas the Geek. Niklas the Greek. The Greek, not the Greek, the Geek. In server upgrade video, you mentioned something about GVT-D. Sorry to disappoint you, but unfortunately it's not. Yeah, I know. I realized that Wednesday, and I meant to throw a comment in there, and I didn't. And I was like, oh. So I knew before I released the video that it didn't support it. I was overly optimistic when I first got it, but absolutely, you're right. I think it's the E3s that support it, which I wish it did, because that sounds like such a cool tech. Sounds like such a underutilized cool tech that helps out with virtualization too. But yeah, thank you so much, Niklas. I appreciate it. I wish it did. And it's hard to find information on this type of stuff from Intel, for sure. I know that this piece is like some open source project, but their CPU support, it's I've only seen marketing information where I can find out if the CPU supports it. So it's tough to find, but I appreciate you saying that for sure. I meant to put a comment in the video and I was just like, whatever, someone will call me out on it, and absolutely, because if they do call me out on it, I absolutely know the real answer then. So I appreciate that. Treadstone, I guess the mission statement isn't good. I guess mission statement isn't a good word. More like heart behind it. Definitely don't track anything and even build ad tracker blockers. They only make money when you use their affiliate links. Oh. Punit, hello, how's it going? How are you? Takano, do you guys keep boxes of products came in or just throw them away? If you do you keep them? How and why do you store them? Yeah, great question. I see a lot of people are answering this. Darth Trackmaster, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Yeah, Takano, I have a stack of boxes. I don't break them down. A long time ago, I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep all my boxes because the resale value is definitely higher when you keep a box. That's, my past experience. But now with like Craigslist and everything and name your whatever marketplace, doesn't really matter. Now I'm to a point where I keep boxes for things I might ship back or that make it easier to move. So that's monitors, that's server boxes. If I ever need to ship it or move it, then I keep that box. Otherwise, you should see my stack of boxes. I kind of hate it. I liked it at first. I thought it was cool. Now I hate it. So yeah, great question. Yeah, PC boxes. Yeah, you're all on it. Oddly shaped things, curved monitors. I like it. You guys are all over it. Linux Ducks in Germany. So goodbye, y'all. Very nice stream. Hey, thanks for stopping in. T-Tream, thank you for the very detailed answer. Oh yeah, about the IPMI, no problem at all. Super secure IPMI password is, what is that? I can't even read that, but yeah, don't trust any password from Takano, for sure. Guten Nacht. Yeah, I took German in high school for 3 years. All right. I Guten Nacht, is it? And Guten Abend? Is that a good day? I think. And wie ist das Wetter? How is the weather? And viel Glück is good luck. And liste listo is read the list, I think. That's about it. Takano, I keep way too much. Recently purged everything that I didn't have a warranty anymore, but they're stored in the closet garage storage. Yeah, I do wish, yeah, and I wish I had an attached garage that I had rafters that I could throw all that stuff up in, because I don't, because that's where that would go. But then I'm just like hiding the problem when I need a new system. Same exact situation. I kept all the boxes and they've been taking up too much on the shelf. Yeah. Large boxes, for sure. That's me too. Niklas, oh man, that's a lot of German that I can't even try to pronounce. Oh, PC Geek, 52U floor to ceiling. Oh man, Skal, 42U or bust. Yeah, I'm on 18. I'm a mini. Senpai Carter, I have BTRFS RAID 5 and it's working great. Crossing my fingers on that before I switch to ZFS. Yeah. 58U, the ultimate flex. Yeah, no way. Oh my gosh, that's so insane. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a huge rack. Maybe one day if I had a garage or something, but then I got to figure out the cooling for that. Jeez, that is huge. Man, I hate to do this, but I do got to kind of wrap things up. Man, there are so many comments today. I'm right now. Just to be fair, I'm going to go through the ones that actually mention me because I do need to wrap stuff up. So really quick, Takano, Techno Tim, you don't have to answer this. Well, I'm going to because I just said I'm going to do the ones where you mention me. If you don't wish to, but is there a difference between what you earn if someone subs using the Prime sub or a regular Tier 1 sub? I don't think so. That's a good question. I've never looked into it. I don't think so. Twitch has a rev sharing model for the different types of tiered subs. I'd have to look. I don't think that Prime is a different tier than a tier 1. I don't even know why they call it out differently. But I'd have to look. I'm not informed enough. But yeah, good question. I don't know the answer. I'd have to look at like their affiliate agreement or payout. But I think some of that is kind of public though too. I'll have to look. Darth Rackmaster. That's what it is. Darth Rackmaster. Techno Tim, snag yourself a Trip Light 25U. Yeah. With sides and doors. You would appreciate it. Not too much money and well worth it. Also, I've been trying to save up for one of these Quanta SDQ names. 1U with 12 by... Yeah. I just watched a new vid. Good work. DDR4 always... If you can afford it, oh yeah, finding the rails is a royal pain. Yeah, the Quanta 1U. Yeah, I've seen something. Kraft's got something cooking up too. It's funny because he started talking about a 1U server. I'm like, I got one coming too. So yeah, Jeff from Kraft Computing looks like he might have what you're talking about. So like a 1U server where you can fit 12 drives into it. And I'm just speculating, but based on his Twitter account, it looks like that might be what he has. So I'm interested to see what he has because those are interesting to me, especially for building out a NAS for sure. Because then you think you can get 12 drives in 1U, which is a ton of storage in a little amount of space. So I'm super interested in that too. So I'll have to look at those this Quanta server for sure. I just needed virtualization workhorses, but now that I've gotten bit by the 1U bug, I kind of like it. Not gonna lie. Webero, Techno Tim, can you tell us something about why you have such a big server space? You're running some sort of business with it? Kinda. Kinda good question. Good question. Kinda. So I do have some public services that I run. Am I running a full-fledged business? Maybe. I don't know what to call it. I have I host my own websites. I host my own APIs. I write some web apps and some native apps that connect to those services. I run stuff in Discord. I run stuff in Twitch. And so a server rack. So take the server rack out of it. The compute power that I need is way more than I'll ever use for those things. The rest of the compute power goes into other things I host here internally. So I run Plex, for myself to watch media. So that, could, if not using direct play, transcoding takes a lot of effort. I do have to store a lot of data for a lot of my videos now more than ever. So I needed a NAS, and with that I overbought a disk shelf, but arguably, I'll fill it up one day, maybe. And then on top of that, I run home security, so I have my own PVR. And so that takes a lot of processing power too. And so the things that you see in my tutorials are just a small piece of what runs in there. Am I running a business? That's a tough call. I do run services in there where people pay for some things. So maybe that's a business, I don't know. And they're mostly apps. And then, on top of that, the other things that I mentioned. And then, room for tinkering. I got to have, some extra power if I want to spin up a virtual machine to do some cool things one day or test some things out. At some point, I'm going to build something to help auto convert some of my videos, archive my videos, and mass convert all of my videos into smaller video files, basically compress them. Because I have probably a terabyte of raw footage that I will never use again, maybe. And if I need to go back to that raw footage, 1080p is just fine for me. And even a lower bitrate 1080p would be fine. Because most of the time, if I'm gonna go back for raw footage, I just need a quick clip. I need a 5-second clip from something I did in the past. And so I have huge files. Some of my recording sessions are, two hours with 2 or 3 1080p videos. That's huge. 1 week I can consume 100 gigs of just making YouTube videos. And so anyways, long story short, why do I have so much capacity, so much compute capacity and storage capacity? Because of those things. But is it all to make money? No, absolutely not. It's mostly for personal stuff. Oh man, they're rolling in now because I said I'm gonna wrap it up, but I'll get to them. Punit, backup solutions. What do you suggest if you don't have server space? So backup, true backup, offsite backup. I use Backblaze, and so it's worked out well for me. Now that's a true backup solution. It's not like availability. It's not anything like it's a true backup solution with archives and versioning and stuff built in. So that's what I use. It's worked out great for me. The home plan, unlimited, personal, $5, fantastic. And so yeah, that's what I use. Both for backing up photos from my phone and now you throw a wrench in it. So I would So to truly back up my data here, I use Backblaze. For backing up my phone, what do I use? iCloud to back up my phone. My photos, I back up to Amazon. Because Amazon, if you have Prime, one of your other benefits, when I was saying earlier, use your Twitch Prime benefits on someone because it's something you get free every month. You also get free photo backup from Amazon too, just by installing the app and having Prime. It sounds like one big Prime commercial, but it's not. I promise. So that's what I use because it's absolutely free. And then you get family plans too. So everyone in your family, I think it's 5 or 6, can back up to there too. And it comes with your Amazon Prime subscription. So again, is it the best? I don't know. Does it need to be the best? No, it just needs to store my stuff securely. It's kind of a pain though, because you got to open up the app every now and then. I'm like, wow, I have 300 photos that haven't backed up. I wish they could figure it out automatically, but yeah. So that's what I use for sure. Pitchfork, I'll do this one real quick and then I gotta go. Story behind your name. There is a story behind my name, so I didn't give this name to myself. It was given to me in college. When I was in college, I liked a lot of electronic music, which I still do. I for some reason I like electronic music. I've always loved hip hop, R&B, all my life. Then I went to college and I was exposed to new things, like most people get exposed to new things. And I heard a lot of electronic music. I was like, this is pretty awesome. And so I was into it a lot, and I used to play it really loud. I had a big stereo. And of course, my dorm room was right next to the restroom. So everyone had to walk by my room to go to the restroom. And so anyways, I used to play it really loud and, not annoyingly loud, but I'd play it pretty loud. And I arguably wasn't that loud, but how people get, because my door was open and it was next to the bathroom. So everyone would hear it every time they went to the bathroom. And so my RA would joke with me and just say, hey, every floor meeting, there was always a line item. It was like, Tim, turn your techno music down. Because everyone calls electronic music techno. And so that's kind of how it started. Then my neighbors who, next to me, big hockey player, used to say, Techno Tim, he's in trouble again. I wasn't really in trouble, but he's the one that gave me it. So it just kind of stuck all through college. That's what everyone called me. I mean, people just called me Techno for a long time. That was my name to a lot of people. And then, the whole Timmy thing came out in South Park and all that too. So it was a mix of kind of that. So anyways, yeah, that's how it was. That's how I got the name. And then it kind of took a new form as I, got into IT, and people were like, oh, technology, Tim, that's techno is technology. And so it's evolved, but it's always stuck. But yeah, that's how I got it. Hockey player that sat next to me in college, because I played too much electronic music, that then told my RA, that then made my RA to tell me to turn it down in every weekly meeting in our floor meeting. So, but it was all in good fun. But yeah, that's how I got it. And so that's been my nickname for a long time. And it was given to me by people in college. That's the story, and I'm sticking to it. So, man, thank you guys so much. Man, thanks so much for joining. Huge stream today, huge audience. Thank you so much. If you're new to the channel, absolutely. The conversation doesn't need to end here. We have a Discord server, and it's full of lots of people who are interested in technology. Some people who are seasoned vets, some people who are breaking through, some people who are just curious and lurk. Totally fine. You're absolutely welcome. All are welcome into our Discord server. So I would encourage you to join. Techno, thanks so much for the Discord link. So join there if you want. You're free to leave if you don't like it, absolutely. But I think you'll find a lot of people who are very smart, very passionate about what they do, and very helpful. That's what I've learned. It is totally unexpected. I can't thank everyone enough for all the help I get in the Discord server. It's fantastic. So thank you all so much for helping in any way, even if it's just pointing someone to a channel, giving someone help. I mean, I've seen people fire up whole entire virtual machines and spin up a whole entire environment just to see if they can get the same problem. And you won't find that kind of help anywhere. And somehow I was lucky enough to get those people in my Discord server. So I really appreciate it. Heartfelt thank you, because I see it every day, and it's heartwarming, the amount of help that happens in our Discord server. So I appreciate it. I will be back on Tuesday, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining. If you need to get a hold of me, I'm in Discord, I'm on Twitter. Saturday nights I kind of tune out of that type of stuff, besides, the occasional checking. But absolutely, if you need something, ping me. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. And as always, be good to each other. Take care.